assessment shelter. An assessment shelter is in an early stage in the shelter system. As you know, the shelter system is large in New York City, and that on one level is great, and on one level it's not. It's not great that we have so many people in need. It's not great that we have so much despair. It's not great that in the richest city in the world so many people struggle. But it is great that we live in a city that responds, and I agree entirely with the chairman to the sense that this is a community that has responded. I've worked in homeless services for 20 years. I remember when the Greenpoint shelter at the old Greenpoint Hospital had 500, 600 beds. And those were not well-run programs. We've made a lot of progress. So the assessment shelter is at the beginning point, and I'll walk you through it briefly, of how the shelter system operates. Somebody who's homeless in New York City, or let's take specifically men, since that's what we're talking about specifically here. A homeless man seeking shelter will be brought to an intake center, the Bellevue Intake Center in Manhattan. At that point, they are referred to one of several assessment shelters in New York City for men. Those places, they are given a bed, and they are evaluated and referred on to a more appropriate level of care as more and more about them is understood. We believe, if we have this opportunity to run this facility, that we will run the best assessment shelter in New York City. That we will have the ability and will, from the day somebody walks in our door, in a very humane, in a very dignified, bless you, and supportive and professional way, provide the health services, the mental health services, and the substance abuse services that are necessary to evaluate who somebody is and to inspire them to accept who they are and the opportunity to change their lives. In that process of evaluation that will go on in the assessment shelter, will then be a process of figuring out where somebody needs to go. Historically, the solution has been, once that scarlet H of homelessness is stuck on you, it almost never comes off. We believe there's a great opportunity and a great desire of many homeless people not to be homeless and not to be in the shelters for a long time. We hope and expect that we will be able, significantly at this facility, to find people who have been wrongfully evicted and get them back into their housing, to find people who have just lost their job and get them back to work, to help people not become more homeless, but to help people become as independent as they can be. And so the first thing we will be doing once we evaluate somebody in the first days that they're with us is to help them see if there's a chance to avoid further homelessness and get back into housing, get back into employment, get back where they need to go. Or they have a health challenge that they're dealing with. They need a doctor that they haven't seen for a while. They need drug treatment, but they haven't been willing to admit it. They need to see a psychiatrist and get stabilized in their mental health. We will work with them to do that and get them into an appropriate facility for that, a drug rehab program or a healthcare facility or a mental health care facility. Again, with love and care and compassion, but also with professional services that make sure that people don't fall between the cracks. For some, their homelessness is real, it may have been prolonged, and it may take longer than the 30 days that they'll be with us, and they need another shelter that will continue the process that we've begun. BRC operates shelters like that, as do many other organizations in New York City, as part of this very rich and unfortunately large shelter system that we have. And so evaluating what type of program they need to be in the shelter system, and getting them there as prepared and ready, and providing that next shelter with all the information they need to continue what we've begun, will also be part of what we do. We will have nurses. We will have mental health professionals. We will have health care. We will have linkages to drug treatment and employment services and all the things that we bring as an organization. So I ask that you look at this not just as a project and a building and what goes inside it, but the organization, its history, and all the resources we bring to make it great. And to make it the best possible opportunity it can be for the people who are going to be staying there. I wish we didn't need it. I wish we didn't need any shelters. I would love to close shelters and build more housing. And we all know there's a great need for more affordable housing as well. I'm a big advocate for that. We have over 500 units of it at BRC, and I would love to do more of that. But the city has a legal and a moral responsibility, a responsibility it's embraced. We want to work with the city on that opportunity to make it as great as it can be. So maybe I'll stop there and take questions. Is that what you want me to do next?
Yes, please.
Okay.